Now in its 29th year, Food for the Hungry is an annual drive that collects food and revenue for the Knox County branches of the Salvation Army and Interchurch Social Services. The 25th anniversary drive in 2006 raised $20,000 for each agency to install a freezer unit for larger amounts of cold and frozen food. Interchurch's freezer unit was installed in 2009, and while planning is underway for construction of the Salvation Army freezer, it has yet to start. I went to the Salvation Army here in Mount Vernon and got an update from Major Bob Bender about the freezer project. And, while there, I also got to find out just what all the Salvation Army really does.
It was the 25th Food for the Hungry anniversary, and what they did was we needed freezer space, and we needed, we just needed space. And they set aside $20,000 for Interchurch and for the Salvation Army for getting a walk-in refrigerator and a walk-in freezer. And can we get more freezer goods and refrigerated goods, produce from donations locally and from the food bank. It's like at Christmas, like last year, I didn't have freezer space. I lost out on a number of donations, like frozen turkeys, stuff like that. I just had no place to keep it. But a refrigerator is important too, because a walk-in will enable us to get that produce and keep it longer. So I won't have to deny or not take donations. I'll be able to throw it in the freezer, and of course, it's just going to be big for us. We cram these things as full as we can, and we finagle we try to make space so we don't have to deny, because the bottom line is we use the stuff that's given to us. And I hate to refuse anything, but we find a way. Last year we got like 500 pounds of venison donated, and I didn't have any place for it, but we made place. We made room.
Once the addition is completed, Major Bender won't have to worry about space anymore. There will be plenty enough room for all donations.
Part of it for dry goods. The actual addition where the walk-ins are going to be located will be 15 feet deep by 36 feet wide, or 36 feet long. And the walk-ins themselves are 9.5 feet wide by 7.5 feet deep. We're getting the two, just for a refrigerator and a freezer. So you take off the 9 foot, so we'll have about 25, 24 foot left for 24 by 15 left for storage and stuff like that. So it'll be nice. Yeah. I may want to sleep in there.
Major Bender then discussed with us the important role the Salvation Army plays in the local community.
Just having food is one thing, but having the ability to store it and to do it properly, you need stuff like this. You really do. The number one purpose of what we do is to see that the client, that we serve the people in need, and then everything else takes second place. There are people in this community that struggle financially, that they have to make a choice between food or paying a rent bill. The emergency housing, the food that we give out, that type of assistance, you don't have to, we don't sell you have to come to church to do any of that stuff, or to receive, but you'd be surprised at the number of people who inquire about God, or if they say, stuff, can you at least pray for me? This type of set aside for these walk-ins isn't a one-time shot, and it's going to be here for 20 years. It's going to be used for the next however long it stays. We're here. It's going to be here. So that 20,000 spread over the next 20 years. I mean, that means a lot. That's a huge investment, and it's a good investment.
Major Bender was able to discuss the reasons why the project isn't completed yet.
Deciding where took a few months. It took a while, actually. And then, months turn into, weeks turn into months, months turn into half a year, and then, because we wanted to get it right. I didn't want to put it someplace where I was stupid to put it here. So, and then the process, once we decide, we have to bid out the architect. So we got an architect, and then when the architect does it, we have to approve his drawings. And in the Salvation Army, we have logistics, so all these things have to be signed by the church board and then our advisory board, and then it goes to Cleveland. And because we're incorporated in New York, it's got to go to New York to have the architects in New York look at it, and then it's got to make the process all the way back. And that can take up to four or 5 months, up to half a year. The whole process can get to you at times, and you just need a break. But I think we got it right, and I think we've got it in a good spot. The walk-ins are going to be will be 15 feet deep by 36 feet wide, or 36 feet long. And the walk-ins themselves are 9.5 feet wide by 7.5 feet deep, or by 7 feet deep. So that's big. That's a nice sized room. You know, that's a decent room for it, and each one's going to be that big.
The Salvation Army is grateful for the money generated through Food for the Hungry.
Honestly, the reason I'm doing the addition is because Food for the Hungry set aside the $20,000. We have a capital fund for building. It's not very big, but we have enough to do the addition. Although I'm always griping about storage space, I probably would not have put the addition on the building if back in 2006 they didn't set aside $20,000 for a walk-in. Because it's just natural that we're able to do that. And actually, it's because of Food for the Hungry that we're doing this. And we're able to do it, because if I run the numbers without the $20,000, I don't think I could do it, because we don't have that much in capital, but we have enough with the $20,000 to do this project, it's just huge. And so those people who gave money towards that know that that dollar's not just helping in 2006, but it's going to help for the next 20 years as far as those walk-ins are concerned, which I don't know, you can't get an investment like that anyplace else. And it's people's generosity and their kindness. But I think what it'll do is it'll actually make it easier for the folks who run the pantry, pack the food boxes, stuff like that. And I think it's just going to be good. I just want to get it.
The Salvation Army does more than just feed people's physical hunger. They try to feed their spiritual hunger, too.
It is a joy. When you keep it all in perspective, even the real hard days, to be able to affect somebody's life, and not just here on earth. There's a lot of hurting people out there, and I think if you can help somebody emotionally, and I honestly believe that, and this is probably going to sound trite, that Christ is the answer to all the issues that we face. If we can affect people's lives, emotionally and internally, we can make a definite change. Once Food for the Hungry is over, the gym's incredible. I mean, half of it's filled with food and half of it's filled with toys. And we need help sorting the canned foods and stuff like that. There's packing the food boxes. We just did coats for kids too. The Kiwanis Club did, and just sorting the coats.
Though some Salvation Army locations have been reporting a drop in donations during these tough economic times, Major Bender says not so here in Mount Vernon. He reports that donations the past few years have remained steady and hopes that, through the generous support and donations of the good people of Mount Vernon and Knox County, that good trend will continue this holiday season as well. For CougarNet News and the 2010 Food for the Hungry Drive, I am James McDowell.